Ready?
One of the many fun things about playing arcade games and making these videos is discovering and learning about the devs of these games. Whether they be well known or under the radar, I've started to develop a familiarity with companies and what to expect from their games. It's like when I was young and realized that Squaresoft was the RPG master of that time, or that Capcom made the most fun fighting games. I don't know, it's just something I don't really feel like I get to experience a lot in gaming today. But there's one dev in particular that I haven't seen again since I started doing these arcade videos, and that dev is Psikyo, the people that made Cannon Spike, which I enjoyed and reviewed earlier this year. The random fate that is the Fightcade filter and search system landed me to another Psikyo title. After playing it, I researched the dev and discovered that they mainly made shooters, so that pretty much explains why I haven't run into Psikyo again. I mainly try to find beat-em-ups or side-scrolling action games, as those are some of my favorite arcade genres, but sometimes I come across shooters and play them. Most of the time, I have fun with shooters, but never really think about doing a video about them because I never feel like there's much to talk about. Plus, I really am a big noobus with the shooter genre, so I don't feel like I could do them justice, but I'm going to try today. To my delight, I did play a Psikyo-made shooter that I am excited to talk about, and is a little weird in its own right, and certainly kind of flipped the idea of a shooter in my mind a bit. But before I get into it, if you'd like to support my channel, please watch this video in its entirety and share it. I would really appreciate it. Let's take a look at Soul Divide, the Sword of Darkness, and see just what Psikyo cooked up. You are despicable, Ithter! Know what you're doing? It's all part of my becoming invincible! That's about all the pre-context we'll get for the plot of Soul Divide. Ithter wants to become invincible, this dude gets nuked to hell, and Ithter now has a crystal.
Why not?
Three heroes decide to chase down Ithter because we won't have a game otherwise. That about does it for the plot, but we'll come back to it a little later. Let's take a look at our heroes. We have Kashan, a blue-skinned angel man who must have been the buffest of all the Smurfs in Smurf Village. Vorg, who is what I imagine Gambit from the X-Men would look like if he became the Sorcerer Supreme. And Tyora, a sorceress and obvious worshipper of the D20. First off, the art for these characters are amazing. They definitely scream 90s Image comics. Like, I could totally see all these characters getting a one-shot comic with these designs right on the cover. The detail is awesome, in the art and in the game itself. Alright, we got a sidebar, because I have got to look up this artist. I am really digging this person's work. Katsuya Terada. I wonder what else he's done. Whoa, The Legend of Zelda? Yo, this dude's work is dope as hell. How have I not seen these before? Were these pieces ever used in any Zelda publications here in the United States? If anyone knows, please tell me. This is work that I would frame and put up on my wall. I am in love with Terada's style right now. Anyway, I digress, back to the game. The heroes are chosen, dude gets cooked, Ithter's bad, and we enter the first stage. Obviously, Soul Divide is a side-scrolling shooter, but instead of the common shooter where a character pilots some kind of vehicle, we play as the actual heroes themselves. The projectiles are knives, feathers, and I'm just gonna say Tyora's attack is Magic Missile.
I'm casting Magic Missile!
But not only do our heroes have infinite knives to chuck, but they also get a melee attack, which is just a 3-hit combo, but it really surprised me that something like this was in the game. Most shooters I play are strictly projectile only, so it was definitely a curveball for me. Now, I don't know if the melee combos do that much more damage than the projectiles, but it's cool nonetheless. Our sorcerers are also equipped with giant magic spells, which are really a spectacle to see and has its own mechanic. Everyone starts with the default fire spell, which is dope as fuck by the way, but you can pick up new magic from enemy drops. Then in order to use the new magic, you need to build up a bar by destroying enemies. Once the bar is filled to the desired level, you select the spell you want to use and cast it. It's basically the bomb attack you would use in shooters, but with a small amount of process and depth added. I like the system, except my main complaint would be that there are all these spell slots, but I ever only really found 3 spells in my playthroughs. I don't know if it's random or there's some kind of unknown objective that has to be done, but it was kind of a bummer. Another thing to point out would be the characters have health bars. In most shooters that I've played, it's usually just one hit and you're dead, like in Macross or Sunset Riders. Personally, I was all for a health bar. Whatever makes me have to continue less frequently is most welcome. Overall, the game plays and feels great. Actions are smooth and responsive, and if I get hit or die, it's my own fault. This is the type of control and combat you want out of an arcade game. Something that is skill and reaction based, not something that was designed to steal your quarters. Let's shift over to how the game looks. For the first couple of minutes, I wasn't sure what I was looking at. Everything either appears kind of 3D rendered or pre-rendered. Tyura's model along with some other models don't look the best. I'd have to say that my initial thoughts were that it kind of looked cheap. But the game was saving its best for the boss fights. These bosses are the real stars of the game graphically. They have way more detail and take up big portions of the screen. Fighting these behemoths while casting screen clearing magic really won me over in the looks department. Does the game look the best? No, but I feel the boss designs balance out any graphical shortcomings. Alright, let's go back to the plot. A unique feature Soul Divide has is multiple endings. Depending on which character or characters you play as, you're treated to a customized ending. For example, Vorg and Tyura have their own ending, whereas Kashan and Tyura would have a totally different ending. There are 6 different endings in total, and you're treated with more awesome pieces by Terada. I think multiple endings are awesome, and it's rare and surprising to see it in an arcade game. And it makes sense that this game would have multiple endings because a 2-player playthrough is extremely short. No joke, my friend and I cleared our first go in about 12 minutes.
No one's that fast!
Well, apparently I am.
So it's worth playing through multiple times and mixing up your party to get the most out of the game. The music in the game is pretty good as well. The soundtrack has a heavy fantasy medieval theme with a fast pace to accompany the side-scrolling action. Soul Divide was a fun surprise to find and play. Good controls accompanied by awesome looking bosses and great artwork to look at makes this game stand out to me as one everyone should play at least once. And the good news is, there are plenty of ways to play this game. In North America, Soul Divide was ported to the PS1, Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. The game is even on Steam, which is crazy to me. It's pretty cool that even though Psikyo no longer exists, its properties are still being made available for people to play. So whether you're a Fightcade user or you want a modern port, give this game a go and check it out. Have you played Soul Divide? What did you think of it? Feel free to share your thoughts. Thank you for watching.